Yo, what up everybody? I'm Dave Miranda and this is episode 38 of Just Give Me 5. I hope you guys are doing well, continue to be amazing. I know I'm in some shade right now, but don't get it twisted. It is a very, very hot day today right now in Phoenix, Arizona. October and November can't get here any faster, I tell you, man. Woo, jeez. But if you guys caught episode 37, you saw we had none other than my man Kool Kim. And let me tell you, that guy has a beautiful spirit, you know, and he's a jack of all trades. I mean, it's just so inspiring to see how he reinvented himself, and it's like he just continues to push forward. I mean, there's like nothing the guy can't do, you know, and it's because he puts his mind to it. So like I said, man, that's very inspiring, and he's just a really, really dope human being. So nothing but love and respect to my brother Kim, and make sure you guys watch episode 37. All right. But today's guest has been by far one of the dopest music producers in the Arizona scene for so many years now. He's produced for numerous heavyweights in the Valley, including myself, but that's another story. We're also going to touch on the incredible Black Materia album that he has with MEGARAN, and we're going to talk about the tour that they did overseas because he's got some awesome stories there. We're also going to dig deep into his beat-making process and have him walk us through that. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I present to you Lost Perception.
What's good, everyone? My name is Lost Perception, and all I'm saying is, just give me 5. Oh man, you know, that's a really great question, and I really had to think about it because originally I wanted to become a DJ. And however, what happened was in high school, my best friend was an MC, and he needed beats. And at that time, he had only been rapping over industry instrumentals. And so as fate would have it, one day, right, I'm in my technology class in high school, and at my workstation, there was a program on there called Magic's Music Maker. Okay. And it was a very simple program where you just take loops and you stack them up on top of each other to make your own song. Right. And so I was like, yo, this is dope. So I went to the teacher and I said, hey, can I borrow the disc? I want to install this at home, right? Yeah. So he was down, so he let me take it home, and I installed it at home, and it was just a wrap from there. Like, I fell in love, right? I ultimately figured out how to take my own sounds and loops and put them into the program to make beats that were more so my own. So yeah. I would just scour the CDs and records that were in my house, and you know, I would put them in my computer. I put them in the program and really start, you know, constructing what would eventually become my style. And so it's really at that point, I said, you know what, making beats is really what I want to do. I never did end up becoming a DJ. I just totally forgot about that. But it's okay. I think it worked out for the best. Like I said, I would take, you know, the CDs and the records from my house and, you know, make my beats. But the only thing I really had to access at the time was my mom's music collection. Yeah. You know, back then when I first started, you know, I had a dial-up, you know, internet connection. Yeah. I really didn't understand the process of digging like we normally would, right? I kind of was just like, oh, I'll just sample whatever. Right. So my mom's collection, it was a mix of rock and roll. Okay. It was a mix of country music, movie soundtracks, and Mexican music. Okay. And so a lot of my early beats sampled heavily from those. What I can say though is I used to take a lot of drums from the rock records, and even some of the hip hop CDs I had, I would go look for open parts and take the actual drums from. Okay. I can't really pinpoint the first song I ever sampled, but if I had to narrow it down, it was most likely Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody, or Hotel California by the Eagles. I'm pretty sure. Nice. Just because those were my mom's 2 favorite bands. But another thing too is I had a run where I just sampled a lot of Mexican songs, like old Mexican songs. Yeah, yeah. And it's funny because I ended up discovering Jedi Mind Tricks, and okay. The producer, Stooped Enemy of Mankind, he's my favorite producer ever. So to hear him use a lot of Spanish samples just kind of gave me validation that I was going down the right path, right? Because a lot of my stuff ended up sounding like that. But yeah, man, like it's interesting just being able to take something that someone else created and making it into something that's your own. That's really the power that you have as a beat maker and as a producer, is to just show the world that you're not just stealing someone's art, you're really just kind of putting your own flavor on it and making it into something new. So working with MEGARAN, right? So first, let me just say MEGARAN is one of the most genuine and kind souls I've ever met, like hands down. I met MEGARAN at a beat battle one day. It was here in Phoenix, and it was a crazy beat battle. I mean, it was like me, it was Mustafa's beats, it was DJ Les, and anyways, after the show, MEGARAN approached me, and he just came up to me. He's just like, "Hey, what's up, man? Like your beats. My name's MEGARAN. Here's my latest project." And he handed me a label or a flyer for MEGARAN. And I was like, okay, cool, like that's what's up. And so I'll check it out. And later on I went home and I checked it out, and I was like, man, this is dope. Like I had never really heard anything like that. It was, I've heard video game, based hip hop before, but not like that. So it really blew my mind. Just as time passed, we ended up connecting a few times just in the scene. And so we ended up doing a song on one of my best friend's albums. His name is Blaze Rock, by the way. And we did a song called Blessed to Breathe. And that song, had MEGARAN on it, right? It's a very classic song here in the scene. And it just happened that he showed up at the studio that day. And so from there, we just started building. And, one day we just went out to dinner, and he said, hey, I want to do this Final Fantasy album. What do you think? Are you down? And I said, absolutely. So, I got to work, and we ended up creating Black Materia. And I don't think we realized how viral that album was going to get. I mean, when I look back at it now, right, back then we didn't have streaming like we do now, right? Everything was very much either still physical or straight digital sales like iTunes or Amazon. And when Black Materia came out, like that first 2-3 weeks, we dominated iTunes, Amazon. It was literally MEGARAN, Lost Perception, Eminem, Saigon. Like, it was crazy, man. Like, we couldn't have even imagined what was about to happen. Ultimately, like, he ended up being in some different magazines, and it kind of just shot him through the stratosphere. But the success of that album led to him being invited to go perform at the London Anime Con over in the United Kingdom. And being such a true-hearted guy, he decided, you know what? Let me bring Lost, let me bring DN3, let me bring K Murdoch with me. Right? Because DN3 did MEGARAN, K Murdoch did Forever Famicom, and me, Black Materia. So so we went to the UK, and that was a really dope experience, just because it was a hustle. It really was. I mean, we they paid for a lot of things, but we were essentially the blind leading the blind. We didn't know how to get around. Smartphones didn't work everywhere like they do now, right? So we didn't have our phone to really make reference to. But before we even got there, we had a layover in Philly, and which is where MEGARAN's from. And it was so dope because we're there for a couple of hours, and his mom brought all of us cheesesteaks at the airport.
Nice.
And so that was my first time having a Philadelphia cheesesteak, but
There you go.
that was really cool. So yeah, I mean, we fly over there, we get there. We stayed in some pretty shady hostels, and we're all kind of crammed in there. But there was one night where, after a show, it was very late, and the taxis weren't running, the public transportation wasn't running. We literally had to walk miles in the middle of the night just to get back to our room. But what I can say is, all those struggles were worth it, because I ended up learning so much, not only from MEGARAN, but from K Murdoch, who's a legend in his own right, and DN3, right? Really getting to know them. Learning more so about production techniques as well, because we would make beats while we were there. But all that again was worth it just because when he did a show, um, people that live 5,000 miles away from where I'm from knew who we were, and knew the words to our songs, right? And that just made everything worth it. It was such an amazing feeling. You literally feel like a god when that happens. Yeah, and so all in all, the tour with MEGARAN in the UK was definitely a highlight of my life, and I wouldn't trade that experience for anything in the world. I'm primarily a sample-based producer, so I really try to find a really dope sample. And, I like really soulful samples, so that's kind of what I try to find. So once I find one, I'll try to chop it up as much as I can, and rearrange the notes in the song to, make a new melody, right? Once I sort of have that set up the way I want, I'll throw my own drums to it, right? I'll figure out sort of a groove that I like. So for me and my style, it's progressed over the years, but what I like to do is I like to incorporate a lot of the old boom bap techniques that exist in like the golden era hip hop. Yeah. And then I also like to mix in a lot of the modern day, like, trap elements with like the triplet hi-hats and, the 808s and all that. And I think it's a really nice balance because it'll give something the old heads to listen to and something for the young cats to bop to as well. So once I sort of have all that laid out, right, I'll mix it, and I'll listen to it in on my monitors in my studio, ride around to it into the car, right, for a day or so, and once I feel like it's ready to go, I'll release it to the world. What I use to make my beats, it's a sort of a hybrid hardware software approach. When I first started making beats, I had to use that Magic Music Maker, but I ultimately transitioned to Fruity Loops 3.5, and that's before it was cool to use it, right?
Ninth Wonder, right?
Yeah, it was a couple years later when Ninth Wonder came out and really sort of made it cool to use. But that money that I had mentioned I was saving earlier for turntables. I ended up buying my first MPC. So I bought an MPC 1000. And that MPC 1000 just blew my mind because the sound I was getting out of it just blew everything from the computer away. Like, it was just bigger, it was fatter, and I wasn't really doing anything different. I was just using the same sounds. It was just an MPC. And I fell in love, and so I had that MPC for about 10 years. I ended up selling it. The reason why I sold it is because I had a good friend of mine, his name was Tor Scott. He worked for Native Instruments, and so that's when Machine came out. And so he plugged me in with Machine early on, and so I've been using Machine since it came out. I still use it today. I recently did get a new MPC, the Live 2, and I immediately regretted selling my 1000 because having that new MPC it brought everything back, and so that's mostly what I've been using now. So I take everything from the MPC or the Machine, and I put it into my main DAW, which is a Still FL Studio, and I mix it in there, I rearrange it all in there, and that's sort of how I complete my songs. I think my first favorite beat, it's a more recent beat. I haven't really used it for an artist collaboration yet. But it's just called Love 2021. The reason why I like it so much is just because, my wife likes it. She vibes to it. It just has a really soulful feeling to it. And, everyone that hears it, they just tell me, yo, that's the one, right? Okay. And just because it's so dope, like, I haven't really brought myself to, give it to an artist just yet. But what I am going to do with it is I'm going to be releasing a new beat tape later this year, and so I'm going to put it on there as an instrumental record. So nice. I'm really looking forward to that. My second favorite beat is Blessed to Breathe, and again, that was another that has a story behind it. So essentially, I used to work for one of my production partners. His name's RTC Shogun. Arizona legend as well. Yes, sir. And we were working at the station together. We were both engineers, and I had the sample and I was just chopping it up. He came by and he heard it and his face just lit up. He's like, yo, this is the one. DJ Fact was also there, and he was like, yo, this is the one. And he doesn't like anything. So
Yeah.
for him to be like, oh, this beat is dope.
That's facts.
Yeah, I knew I had something. So, so yeah, I mean, I took it to the studio and, you know, MEGARAN jumped on it, Rock Knowledge jumped on it, Blaze Rock, and FTK Khalik. He went by Ocean back then, but either way, that song was dope. And, you know, that song is near and dear to my heart for sure. Third favorite beat, it has to be Avalanche off of Black Materia. The reason why I love that beat so much is because when that song is performed at a nerdcore event, they just lose their minds. It goes crazy. Like the whole place shuts down. And I remember the first time I experienced that, I felt like no one could touch me. I was like, yo, this is what it must feel like to be like a top artist in the world, right? Having someone just lose their mind over your song. Exactly. I was amazed. So, but yeah, that song was dope too. You know, I think MEGARAN and I knew we had something special once we heard the final version of that. So. You know, that's a very humbling question to ask. You know, the reason why I say that is because I think sometimes we struggle with accepting recognition, right? Or even knowing how we stand with, you know, our friends, our family, or even in a music community such as this. So first, let me just say, you know, thank you so much for saying that. You know, that really tells me that, you know, I'm in a good place. But when I really look back at your previous guests on the show, they all have had something in common. They've been great people and they have good hearts. And I think that's very important for, you know, a project such as this, for a community such as ours, to really let everyone know, like, hey, you know, I support you. You know, what you're doing is great and you are doing something special, right? And if we don't share that positivity or share that love with each other, we will never be able to progress as a community or as individuals. So, so again, man, just thank you so much for sharing that, and I 1000% reciprocate that to you and Jimmy as well. Yeah, so shout outs, you know, shout out to you know, you and Jimmy. You know, thank you for having me on the show. You know, again, it tells me that I'm on the right track, right? I've been gone for, you know, 10 years pretty much, and I pop back up, and it tells me that people are noticing. So, you know, thank you so much. My wife and my daughter, they are the inspiration why I go so hard with my music, with my professional career. You know, I love them with my entire heart, and they are why I'm here right now. Shout out to my work group media family, Blaze Rock, J-Love, Paco Knot. You know, they are doing some really great things with their music, and I'm so proud of everything that they're doing. Shout out to MEGARAN, K Murdoch, DN3. Shout out to the Sunday School Beats fam, Il Al, DJ Organic, Mind of Modium, and Kordek. They're doing a really great job with Sunday School Beats, and I'm very excited to be a part of what they're doing as well. And to anyone else, just anyone that supported me, that showed me love, that's liked a post, that's commented on a post, that's reshared, that sends me a message, or just has mutual respect, just thank you so much. You know, I see you as well, and, you know, let's continue to grind it out.
And there you have it. Nothing but love and respect to my brother Lost Perception, man. You know what I'm saying? I've known him for many, many years now, especially in the Arizona Beats days. You know, shout out to Blaze Rock. Wait till we get him on the show. And he's just always been just a solid human being, man. We worked together, like I said, in the past, and just a really, really fantastic music producer, man. And so we're very, very happy to have him on the show today. Make sure you guys are following him on social media. Shout out to my brother Jimmy Nelson on that camera. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. And man, this was another one for the books. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And until next time, stay tuned, stay blessed, stay healthy, and just give me 5, y'all.